Here I am again, Charlie Simons on Do Not Talk. Talk about two things you're never supposed to talk about, politics and religion. Talking to the people I'm not supposed to talk to. Talking about things I'm not supposed to talk about. All those years in big mainstream media, an entire career of radio and television. And then during the whole COVID shutdown, when I got shut down for saying on the air that if you want to die, check yourself into the hospital and make sure it happens because they're getting paid big money for it. Yeah, got me in a little bit of trouble. Then I went to alternative media, and I've been doing a podcast ever since. That's back to 2021. Oh, 5 years now? I've been doing this 5 years. Wow. Thank you very much for joining my show. Thank you very, very much for following me on Rumble. If you could, please, rumble.com/do not talk. Follow that channel. Subscribe to it. Be a part of it, because this is the media, the social media's conservative voice against YouTube. And I've had 2 strikes on YouTube because I've been in trouble for talking about the COVID stuff, the election fraud, anything and everything. I've talked about it all, and they keep knocking me down, trying to shut me up. Facebook deleted all my pages last summer, everything. Deleted me from the platform. I can't even start another page. No Instagram. So there's no way for me to let people know when I have new shows on, unless you follow my Rumble channel and definitely click that little bell. There's a little bell thing there. You can click and they'll notify you when I have a show on. And if you follow the channel, you'll get an email on it anyway. So, and like this show right now, if you could, please hit that like button. That helps with the algorithms. And comment, but you got to comment with more than 5 words. Otherwise, they consider it a bot. You don't get credit for it. It's crazy. It's crazy right now. And during the whole inauguration of President Trump last year, when all the social media giants were there at his inauguration, promising to stop the fact checking. They didn't stop the fact checking. They just fired all the fact checkers and turned it all over to AI. So we're all getting shut down, shut up, censored like never before. It's actually gotten worse than it was. They're liars. What do you want? What do you expect? They're media. Whether it's social media, broadcast, cable, whatever it is, they're freaking liars. They're doing the devil's work just as quickly as possible, for his time is short. Not kidding. Demonic. So share these shows if you can on your social media platforms. If you're not scared, don't be scared. Come on, you can do it. Put your back into it. And support this show, too, by buying some of the merchandise on my website, like this mug right here. My guest, Reza Safarnejad. You need one of these mugs right here, or 2 or 3. There you go. Let's talk about politics and religion. Reza, I had on the, that's charliesimons.com, by the way, CharlieSimons.com. You can also give there. You can support this show and help this ministry continue. It's costing me money. It costs me a lot of money. I'm not really getting a return back right now. People are scared. We're all scared. We don't know what to do with our money. And things are costing so much money. Here in California now, gasoline has hit $8 a gallon. Of course, I told you it would when all the refineries shut down. Told you it was going to happen. They're blaming it on the Iran conflict. There's so much more to it than that. We have coming up on $2 worth of taxes now per gallon of fuel. As a video I posted on my TikTok channel. I'm on there too, by the way, Charlie Simons 1. Apparently somebody else had my spelling and already took that show. Charlie Simons 1 on TikTok. And I was actually showing you the video, how much we're paying in taxes. Hey, California. Here's why it cost me almost $100 just to get 18.5 gallons of fuel. Check out the taxes you're paying on every single gallon of gas. Oh, by the way, do not use phone while refueling. Oops. Great job, Democrats. You've done well in California. What an amazing truckload of stupid choices you make again and again and again per gallon. It's over $100 now to fill up my little old Honda Pilot. Yep. and it's only going to get worse. There's no light at the end of that tunnel. I keep saying nothing's going to change until we get good people running for office. And we got a whole bunch of great people running for office now. They're running for everything from, we got to act locally, though. We don't have people in local races. I wish we did. I've reached out to my own central committee in the county where I live. Anything I could run for, anything. I don't care what it is. Just something I can run for, something that's going unopposed. It's just another Democrat running again and again and again. To have somebody with an R in front of their name running for that same position, I really don't care what it is. Oh, yeah, we'll get back to you. Nope. Never did. Never did. So people like Reza are going big or go home. They're running for governor. This is another candidate on the right running for governor of the state of California. And I got him on the show right now. Let's talk to him again on Do Not Talk. Are you ready? Hit it. Reza, what's going on, my friend?
Hi, Charlie. Thank you for having me on the show.
Hey, thanks for being had. Thanks for being had. It's good to see you again, too. After the Palisades fire, you and I went on the air because I saw you as a guest speaker at the California State Capitol building. And I said, man, I got to have you on. And you explained what happened, how the government was literally preventing that fire being fought effectively through their ineptness. But as I said, I don't think it was inept. I think it was on purpose. I think the whole damn thing was on purpose because they want to create their little smart city, see? And they can't do that as long as people are living in the Palisades and Malibu who are grandfathered in maybe with Prop 13. They're not paying as much property taxes as the government thinks you should be paying. They've been trying to kill that for years and erode its effectiveness. And it's not going to stop until we get good people running for office. By the way, did you ever get any kind of permit to rebuild your home?
So my home was not damaged enough to be torn down. So it was repaired. And as of December, I moved back in, which is good. On the downside,
you're one of the few, aren't you?
I am literally one out of about 30 out of 550 homes in my neighborhood. So I live among the ashes of what used to be my neighborhood every day. And it's hurtful and it's sad. And talking to my former neighbors, it's just heartbreaking. And
here's the worst part, Reza. The state of California is charging you for the property that you can't live on and can't return to and can't get a permit to rebuild, but they're charging you if your weeds are too high or you haven't cleaned up the property yet well enough to their liking. They're fining people thousands of dollars for it, aren't they?
My neighbors are all facing those problems. And that's not even the biggest problem. It's the promised, mortgage relief that never happened for most people. It is the permits they keep promising, but they're holding back until their investor friends come and buy the land for dirt cheap. And
that's it.
I would say at least half of my neighbors who said we will never sell already sold. And it's just systemic failure and systemic corruption at every level that we face since then.
Well, I agree with you on the corruption, but not the failure. I really don't think any of this is by accident.
Last time you said something that kind of stuck with me, and I was a little dismissive about it, and I think I owe you an apology for it. And you mentioned something about energy, some kind of weapon or something that can focus energy. And I was a little dismissive about it. Yeah. And here's the thing. When things don't add up, when they don't make sense, we try to come up with our own answers, with our own explanation. So anytime I hear conspiracy theories, I realize it's not because people are crazy or stupid. It's because things don't add up. And as we found out much later in this fire, this was an arson fire. And the entirety of government, from the mayor's office to the head of fire department, went out of their way to cover it up when they all along knew this was arson. This was not a natural fire. And so when you don't have that information, and you and I talked about how much moisture there is in the air, how there's natural springs everywhere, because natural fire is near impossible to happen in that specific area. Yeah, people are going to come up with conspiracy theories and go, how can we make sense of this?
The PG&E smart meters that they forced on everybody, you can opt out, but good luck with that. I brought that up too. Have you heard anything more about that? Has anyone talked about that at all? Because the odd thing to me was that entire neighborhoods were going up. It wasn't spread, but instead an entire neighborhood, boom, boom, boom. Not spreading like a natural fire. Suddenly a whole bunch of houses going up in flames. And there's video of this sparking going on these smart meters, PG&E, which we showed as well. Have you heard anything more about that?
Honestly, there's been so many of these between Altadena, Palisades, and Malibu that it is just it just head spinning. I'm sure you've seen videos posted by Spencer Pratt, who's running for mayor, other people from the area from Altadena and Palisades running for various things. And every one of them has posted. And I've posted a whole bunch of these videos where it's like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't add up. Why would a fire truck keep going, like parked in front of the house that's on fire and they're not doing anything, or they keep driving back and forth, or there's just so much of it.
They didn't have any water. They didn't have any water in their tanks. There were no no water available in the hydrants.
Exactly. I mean, all sorts of issues. We could just talk about this for hours, just on all the problems, all the failures, all the people not doing what they're supposed to do, shortage of everything, that was necessary, from fire trucks to firemen to water to, there's just no end to it, right? And so I think a lot of us saw these systemic failures coming from systemic corruption. And the same kind of corruption and failure is present in every problem we're seeing. It doesn't matter if it's the homeless, if it's crime, if it's cost of living, all of it is coming from this systemic failure that's ruling over us. So that's why at some point, as I was helping some of these other people run for various offices, I said to myself, enough is enough, just like they did. And I'm going to stop complaining, and I'm going to go for the one position that most of these people are not going for. And we need us, we the people who are not part of this failed system, people who are willing to make real changes, to run and make the changes. And I'm going to stop complaining.
You admitted that you were on the left. You had a D for many years of your life, and this has been a wake up call for you. I've become very good friends with several candidates. One is Louis Herms, another one Daniel Mercury, who have always been conservative and were Republicans, but they're not running as Republicans. They're doing no party preference or independent because they believe that there are people in California who will not vote for anyone with an R in front of their name because they're that blind and they're that unwilling to admit that they have made mistakes that have brought this on all of us through their choices. How about you? What is your party that you're registered under running for governor now?
I wholeheartedly agree with you. Jesus Christ could come down. If he had an R in front of it, he wouldn't be able to win, right? And it's as sad as that sounds, right? And truthfully, I have never been political. I was registered as a Republican. I've voted Democrat as many times as Republican. I consider myself socially liberal, but fiscally conservative. I've always been like that. I've never had any strong ties to any party. I think in the last few years, I've probably voted far more Democrat than Republican. But again, this one.
Oh, you're the one.
Hey, live and learn, right? But this one party system is failing us. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So, and I hate to say it, but the party system is failing us. And so the Republican Party, Democrat Party are all tied to big donors who are either benefiting or they come from this system, overall corrupt system. So there's very little motivation or none to really make changes. And this is where I would love to see more regular, average, ordinary working people come up and run for things and run our state.
What party are you registered with in your run for governor, though?
Oh, no party preference, so none. So
Okay,
no
you're doing the
party.
same. You're doing the
I'm
same
doing
as
this
them.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
it
and
makes
one of the
sense.
things, sorry.
I mean, Kevin Kiley just did that. He got booted out of his position with Prop 50, the redistricting, the land grab, basically. Gerrymandering.
Gerrymandering.
Yeah. Kevin Kiley has now changed his affiliation from Republican to
Right.
no party
I
preference.
suspect he also recognized that just having that R in front of his name was enough for him to not get voted in. I do have to say, the little bit, I've literally been in the race less than a month. And in this little bit of time, I did do research. And the first thing I found out, I literally drove down to the election office to register the last day. I think it was the last day or the day before the last day was for the deadline to register to run. And I realized that if you sign as a Republican or Democrat, you have to toe the party line. You have to essentially sell your soul to what the party says and their donors. And that was the real reason. Right there, I changed and I said, no, I'm not selling to anyone. I want everyone to know it's about us, Californians.
What do you say to people like me who I'm very socially conservative, not just fiscally, but socially conservative too? Anyone who might be concerned about that, your stance, how far are you going to take? What the Democrats have just aligned themselves with a homosexual mafia, basically is what I call it, because that's what they are. Those are their tactics of fear and intimidation to get everybody to comply. And also the abortion stance, pro-life and so on. What do you say to anybody who feels the way I do?
So, look, California, live and let live, right? We're all human beings, right? And are gay men and women posing a threat to you and me? If they are, that's a problem. The government needs to step in and do something.
Well, they are in
about
schools, grooming going on, all the books in children's libraries. Yeah, it's a huge problem.
So this is where we take things way too far, right? You want to be straight, you want to be gay, that's fantastic. Good for you. We are what we are, right? Do you want to push it on other people? No, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. And that goes for religion, that goes for everything else. If and when something endangers people, that's not right. So if somebody is transgender, and you and I are not, obviously, and I don't know if I have a full understanding of what that means, but you're a transgender, you're a Californian, you have a right to live and you have a right to prosper. But for someone, as you said, if you're grooming other people, if you're pushing on other people, right? And we're seeing this through social media so much these days, and we hear so much about it, where they're giving these kids literally anxiety and telling them, solve your problem by chopping off your whatever, or do drugs, or whatever it is that somebody else believes in. That's wrong. That's creating problems for us. So I think the live and let live California way has worked for us. I don't want to see, I would not want to see gay men and women hide or feel uncomfortable or unwelcome in our society. But I don't want anyone pushing any kind of agenda on you any more than I want to see you push an agenda on someone else. And that's my beliefs. As governor, my job would be to serve the people of California. So again, abortion, okay? People of California, a majority have made it clear they don't want restrictions on abortion. And regardless of what I believe as a governor, I have to go with what people want and do, unless it is a significant danger or problem. So what I would tell to you on being against abortion, I would say, let's work on ending abortion together, right? By doing it the right way. Because I hope I'm not wrong about this, but what I see is abortion comes from medical issues. It comes from being desperate, right? When you're young, when you're alone,
or
when you
ease,
don't,
just using it as a form of birth control.
I hope not. That's just
It's
wrong.
prevalent.
Okay, but that's just wrong. That would be an issue where it's just wrong, right? But let's not assume the worst about our people, right? Let's not prejudge everyone.
No,
Okay.
those are statistics. I'm not judging.
Right.
I'm just saying that's how it is.
Understood.
The abortion pill, the morning after pill, that so many pro-life people take that stance are fighting against. I don't understand that. I'm going to say something might be a little controversial, but take people out of it. And if you decide you want to take a pill to end that pregnancy, more power to you. I hope you don't. I think that's a horrific choice, but it's there. I want to take the medical community out of it completely. I want to take out Planned Parenthood. I don't want these things. If you want to buy an abortion pill, a morning after pill at the drugstore, it should be available. You do your thing. But you are going to have to answer to the Lord for not
Answer to
respecting the sanctity of life. But that would, to me, take care of a lot of this problem with us funding Planned Parenthood and different abortions and supporting it and so on. Just take other people out of it so that doctors aren't going against their Hippocratic oath and nurses and so on by dissecting and sucking this child out of a womb. Just let them have their morning after pill. I don't know. That's just my thought.
There's nothing easy or good about abortion. Okay.
No.
And so we could spend hours and hours talking about it. Some of the things you bring up are very valid. I say take the government out of it. You know, we could outlaw abortion, we can outlaw abortion. The government and its infinite stupidity cannot force people to do anything.
They want that wisdom. They obviously want that control. And what about boys and men acting like they're girls and women and going into women's locker rooms and playing in their sports and what's your stance on that? Because I'm sure people will ask.
I'm sure people will. Okay, look, people want to live the way they want to live. It's fine. You and I are older. We remember the 80s and 70s. I was a child in the 70s. I don't remember that well, but 80s, I remember the androgynous, right? How many rockers? Boy George. How many rockers wore women's clothing and more makeup than our mother and sister, right? Did that harm us? No. But a boy going into a girl's bathroom, that presents a danger. To me, that's where you stop. You want to dress like a woman, you want to dress like a man. If you're a woman, you're a business. But when you endanger other people, that is completely unacceptable. And this is where politicians always go way too far just to get a few more votes, and they couldn't care less who gets harmed. So there has to be some middle ground where we're not endangering lives, we're not creating problems for others. And if you want to do something that you and I find disagreeable, weird, whatever, however you want to phrase it, it's your business. You know, it is what it is. There's a lot I don't agree with. There's a lot I don't like. There's a lot I don't understand. And I'm sure a lot of people are like that. But there has to be a middle ground where everybody can live their lives and thrive and not create problems for others.
These are very good answers. Thank you for answering them. I like you. I want you to do well. And I'm not asking these things as gotcha questions. I hope you know that. But these are things that I know that people who align with me spiritually and
Right.
politically would be asking those
And
questions.
back to abortion, I would say in a perfect world, we want a world where there is no abortion. We don't even need to talk about it, right? But unfortunately, we don't live in that world.
No.
And it's not just abortion, right? Everything that feeds into it. I mean, right now, we got a drug epidemic. Imagine how many people on drugs are doing things and then they're stuck. They don't know what to do, right? Or they're on drugs. They're not making good decisions. Does a baby need to come out being a drug addict already? Homelessness, of cost of living. There are so many problems. I think if we address a lot of these big problems, what you're going to see is reduction in all the byproducts. And again, in a perfect world, we wouldn't need to talk about abortion. Everybody would be healthy, happy, and no need for it, right? Or not even talk about it. But what we can do and where we can all meet and agree is reduce it and make it possible for people to have healthy lives so it becomes as minimal as possible.
How about the assisting with the federal government in removing all these illegals who have swarmed into California as a sanctuary state? What's your stance on that?
All right. First and foremost, sanctuary state, sanctuary city is a joke. Okay. It doesn't exist. The state and local government has no power to tell anyone to stay or go. That's just a BS political move for these people to get votes. And it has created a very dangerous situation for everyone, not just the citizens, but also illegal immigrants who are flocking to our state and our city thinking they're safe, which is not true. So they're creating this dangerous situation for everyone. As far as illegal immigrants, we live in California. We have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of undocumented immigrants. And it's been streaming in for a long time. So putting them all in one bucket is not right. We have people who've been here for years. They work on farms, they work construction, they work jobs, they are productive, they contribute to our society, they contribute to our cities far more than these politicians, right? We have housekeepers that we trust more than we trust our neighbors to just come into our home, do the work, right? And rather than having a single one size all, we got to approach it differently. And stop vilifying everyone and trying to make them all saints. That's just not reality. So
Well, they all came in illegally, though, and they know, even if they act like they're ignorant about our laws, they know that they came over here and they're not supposed to stay here. They may have even gotten a work visa, and it's been long past the 6 months, and they were supposed to go back, and they didn't, and nobody has gone after them for it. I can't do that. I couldn't do that if I decided I wanted to live in any other country. I couldn't just go there on a visitor's visa and then just decide, yeah, I'm going to stay. Not only am I going to stay, but I want to start working here. The bottom line is they're getting all kinds of benefits. A lot of them are not even working at all. They're getting a whole lot of freebies. And you call them undocumented workers. I call them undocumented Democrats because that's the way the majority of them vote. And they are voting, Reza. They are voting. You can't even argue that. It's happening, especially with our mail-in ballots. It's real easy for them to vote, and they're going to keep voting for the way that they think the freebies or the protection is going to come from. How would you address that as governor?
Okay, so first and foremost, again, the local government doesn't have any say directly in immigration. This is entirely up to the federal government. If we're unhappy with what's happening, regardless of what side you're on, we need to lean on our congressmen and our senators, people in the federal government, to fix the problem. That's one. Second, the governor of California does have a lot of sway because at the end of the day, we are a huge economy. We are one of the biggest engines of everything from food to energy, formerly biggest energy producer, and a lot of other things, technology, all sorts of stuff. So the governor does have a lot of sway with the federal government. what you brought up is a multitude of issues, right? Election fraud. Okay. If we don't trust our election, there's a problem. It doesn't matter if there is actual fraud or how much fraud. Anybody who argues and says, well, it's only this percentage. No, if people don't trust the election, there's a problem. We have to address that. No question about it. How we address it is going to be something we'll work out together, right? Whether it is voter IDs, whether it is looking at the voters' rolls and making sure everybody is a U.S. citizen. We need to do these things. This is not something that's up to discussion. It's got to get done. We got to have some form of trust in our election. Second problem, again, illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, et cetera, right? We're going to have to have a better path of dealing with it. So again, if you're here and you came here to stay on welfare, you're causing problems. I don't care if it's a misdemeanor, right? You came here 3 years ago, you got arrested twice or got slapped for misdemeanor. Time to go. I'm sorry. That's all there is to it, right? We want a path that's transparent, that's clear, and we know how it is. And I personally would strongly back a Reagan-style action for immigrants who are undocumented, who've been here for 10 years, 15 years, whatever we think is a good threshold. I would absolutely work with the federal government to make sure this happens, make sure they're employed, they've been contributing to society, that they haven't been involved with criminal activity. And let's be honest with ourselves. I mean, what you're saying is totally valid. It is the point of view of someone who was born and raised here. I'm an immigrant. It took 7 years for me and my family to get permanent residency. There were times when you suddenly get a letter saying, all right, that's it, get out. And you're like, but I was in the middle of, going for this. How did this happen? Things happen. People
I understand it's very tough and expensive. I understand
it is absolutely, but it is absolutely worth it. It is the best thing my family did. And that view has never changed. But besides that, I think we do need a path for people who've been here for a long time, who this has become their home, and productive and contributing and good people to have a way to stay. We absolutely need to seal our border. There's no question about that part of it. We absolutely need to have enforcement on our streets, but not like this. The idea of mass people, I don't care if you're Bloods and Crips. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you work for the federal government. Mass people grabbing people for with no apparent, type of formal or, and without training and anything else and not knowing where they're going is unacceptable. And I'll give you a personal example. My mother.
When you say mass people, you're talking about ICE agents?
ICE agents, exactly. And we want ICE agents to feel safe, that they don't have to wear masks, right? And that's not right. I
don't think that's ever going to change, because they've been so doxxed and threatened, and cartels going after their families and so on. They have to try and hide their identity somehow. I don't blame them for doing that.
So you and I very briefly talk about my background. I work in forensics. I work with crime labs, crime scene units across the country. And something I didn't mention is I do get requests from the State Department and outside of the country, including Mexico, for aid. So I do work on cases that involves cartel. And as you can see, I don't hide my face. It is a price we pay for doing our job. And same goes for every police officer. We accept that. And all I can do, and what every police officer, every FBI agent does, is do our job and do it right and do it with honor and integrity. And yes, if a cartel member decides to come after me, it is what it is. It's the price we pay. So I am very much in favor of protecting our police officers and our agents, but there has to be some kind of medium, some kind of a median. I'm not sure how to phrase this now, but there has to be some reasonable thing where we feel safe and they feel safe and they're doing their job with integrity and honor. And there's no question about it. And this is where we have failed, where Mr. Stephen Miller is directing this organization. And I'm not sure how it's benefiting us, the American people, to the degree that it should. And we're not sure what kind of training they're getting. We're not sure what kind of rules they're following, as all police officers do. We don't know if there's any kind of internal investigation, the way all police departments have. That group needs to be reformed. And I'm really happy to see Congressman Mark Wayne Mullins taking over someone else. So we'll see where it goes. But we have enough problems. We don't need to add to it. And I'll say, from working with police departments locally, most local police departments, almost all of them, even in red states, don't trust DHS. And that's just from past experience working with them. So they need to work better. They need to do better to earn the trust of police departments, to earn the respect and trust of the American people. And absolutely, we do need immigration enforcement. No question about that.
Yeah, we had a lawless president for 4 years who literally went against our national immigration laws that are already in place and just opened the floodgates wide open, said, come on in, literally saying that.
This is where party politics goes off the railing. I can't imagine what the logic behind that was. You know, you've suggested.
I can. They wanted to change the voting structure. That's what it was.
So again, I can't explain it, so I'm not going to dismiss what you said, but that may be it. Being in Southern California, we've seen a lot of illegal immigrants in the last few years, especially the last 2 years of Biden, come in, and they're all Uber drivers, DoorDash delivery people, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of them have the same story. Oh, we saw influencers online tell us you can come to California. They told us exactly how to get through the border, and you can make a ton of money, work very little, and just smoke marijuana all day, right? So I don't know if who's motivated by what part, but it was a crisis, and I'm sure somebody somewhere benefited from it. So you're right. The party politics and these extremes are just destroying us, our state, and our country, and we got to move away from it.
One thing I really like about Daniel Mercury is he's very open, more so than any other candidate running for governor of the state of California, in saying that I'm going after them. I'm going to go after these people who broke our laws, and public officials who broke our laws, both elected and unelected, and I'm going to make them pay. They're going to be doing the perp walk. They're going to be brought forth on crimes against our state and against the nation. But he's the only one I'm hearing talk that way. What do you think about that? Because there was a lot of laws broken, especially during the COVID shutdown.
We got to have accountability. And it's not just laws that were broken. People who acted unethically, but lawfully. And all of these people got to be held accountable. It doesn't matter whose side you're on. It doesn't matter if you did it to benefit yourself or someone else. It has to get done. Without accountability, all we're going to get is more corruption, more problems, more people who are corrupt, who are going to see this as an opportunity.
They won't stop. There were no consequences to these actions, so why would they stop?
Right.
I hope that if you win as governor, that it's so easy a lot of times when somebody gets in there and they're like, yeah, well, you know, there's other things to concentrate on. I'm really not going to concentrate on that now, but you said you would. It doesn't matter. They just talk and never really have any plans on following through. And I'm done with that. I'm sick of it. I want somebody of strong moral character and brave. People like you. I want to see more people like you running for office, and I hope you do well. I didn't even know you were running until you told me. And I'm like, wow, buddy,
We'll run
you're in a
until
sea you're in
February.
a sea of people who are running for governor right now. There's an awful lot of them.
Absolutely. No, you're right. And it's a matter of motivation, right? They burned down my entire city. They burned down my neighbors' homes. So no, I'm not going to sit back and accept it because those same problems are what's causing homeless, what's causing crime, what's making things unaffordable and bringing up cost of living. So it's not enough to just solve the problem. We got to hold people who created the problem accountable so they can't do it again and again and again.
Amen. Oh, glad to hear you say that, my friend. How do we follow you? How do we find you? Do you got a website? It's got your platform on there and all that?
Absolutely. Reza for California. So rezaforcalifornia.com. And if you just Google that, it will come up. Reza is Reza. My last name is so long, even I have trouble spelling it. So, but you'll see that long Safarnejad last name show up on the long list of candidates.
Reza, is it the word 4 or the number 4?
Number 4. Thank you. Thank you for saying
good.
that. Yes,
Okay,
it's Reza. Just like you, there's so many domains that are taken that you just take what you can.
Yeah, exactly. Rezaforcalifornia.com. And one more thing. You just brought it up and it sparked the question. You mentioned that you were an immigrant. You came from which country?
Iran. So I was born in Iran. I left.
I gotta ask you. How old were you when you came here, by the way?
I was 13.
So was it back in 1979 when the Shah got dethroned
I got to witness the full revolution and the Iran-Iraq War until 1985. And so somewhere in 1985, my father, who had never thought about leaving Iran, realized this is a downward spiral, that this is not just some Islamic regime taking over the country. Everything's just going bad. And unfortunately, I hate to say
it was a great country. It was a great country.
It was a good country. It was a place where people could live. So my dad was a civil engineer, and a civil engineer made enough money to take care of his family all through 60s and 70s. And by 1985, he had to work 3 jobs to be able to support, just get by. Sounds familiar? That's what I know. It's what we're experiencing today. And this did not happen. This was not an act of nature. This was just corruption and monopolies and manipulated markets and an unnecessary war and all sorts of problems.
And you say it's happening here today. When by here, I hope you mean California, because I just came back from North Carolina last week. That state's thriving. Gasoline was $2 and something a gallon, and thriving. They're doing great. So's the rest of the nation, except for these real blue states that are continuing to oppress their people through exorbitant and ridiculous taxation. We're paying well over $1 per gallon of fuel just in taxes alone in California. And now there's people going to Governor Hairdo saying, why don't we rescind these taxes for a while, at least to help our fellow Californians? And he's like, no, this is all part of the plan. I don't want anybody driving any kind of combustion engine vehicles. I want them all to be buying electric. He's destroying the middle class. And I don't think that's by accident. They want us to leave. They want us out of here because we're the ones who own businesses. We're the ones who start realizing the last thing I want is the government running things, trying to hurt my business. And so they don't want that in the state. I really think this is a push just to get rid of the middle class. And we're leaving. So many of us are leaving. We're just getting out of here.
Fortunately, you are right. Every time I go out of state, I meet someone who goes, oh, you're from LA. I was born and raised in LA, but I left and went to this place. I just couldn't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
I would not
But as an
disagree with
immigrant
you.
of Iran, how did you feel when the news broke that ding dong, the Ayatollah's gone?
Oh, that one. Yeah, I'm not in. I don't celebrate anyone's death, but that's a group of people nobody's going to miss. Nobody's going to be sorry about. So that's goodbye and good riddance, and good luck to all of us. So, no, that was not sad news at all. This is a murderous regime of psychopaths. Let's be honest.
Killing at least 35,000 of their own people, anybody who protested against the government during that whole June shutdown thing, month-long shutdown thing. Do you still have family in Iran or Iran that you keep in touch with?
I don't keep in touch with them, but I do have an aunt and one uncle and a couple of cousins who are.
It's got to be tough there right now, man. They got to be scared to death. What's going to happen?
It's first couple of days, it was pretty clear. We're taking out the Ayatollahs, we're taking the mullahs out. Again, I don't think anyone inside or out was sad or sorry to see that one. Now we're on day, 16, 17, and this affects all of us here in California because you're former Army, right?
Yeah.
Did I get that right? Okay. My son is former Navy. I have cousins who are in the military as we speak. There are hundreds of thousands of Californians who are either military or friends and family of military who are going to be in danger. We have the largest community of Americans of Iranian descent here in this state who all have family and friends or connections. We have, large communities of Israelis, Jewish, Muslim, Armenian, Arab, who all have some direct connection. So, and then on top of it, of course, we are all paying at the pump and everywhere else. So this war is affecting all of us. And now at day 16 and 17, we are seeing potentials for problems.
As governor of California, are you going to bring back refineries?
We have to.
We've had 3 of them go.
Sense. We are one of the largest producers of oil. It makes no sense not to have refineries. The insanity of these policies is confounding because yes, we should not have a big giant refinery right on the coast in the middle of Los Angeles and one of the most populous. The answer is not shut it down. The answer is move it somewhere where it makes sense and it's not polluting the ocean. This is just crazy policy that keeps coming up again and again. And our solution to every problem is just do whatever's popular and screw the people, because my next step is I'm going to be president. Well, that doesn't serve us.
Yeah.
So absolutely no. The taxes are insane on gasoline. The taxes are generally insane. Money is being wasted. None of this money. Our roads are not getting fixed. Our schools are not getting better. Money to the homeless is not going to
last place. Speaking of schools, last place.
And the question should be,
Mississippi's doing better than we are.
Arkansas, I think, is doing better than us, if I'm honest. I mean, for crying, and nothing against Arkansas, but it's not the money we spend. I know that nothing. Arkansas is great, but the money we spend on school, and so the even more telling one is we are almost last in K through 12, and we have some of the best universities in the country. So what does that tell us? Nobody cares about us. It's about those who go to college, outside students. And my son is going to school in San Francisco to dental school right now. Half of his class are out of state and international students. There's something wrong with that picture. And so our state has to serve us, people of California. And to your point that they're driving us out, it's a pattern we're seeing very clearly. And are we becoming the next Puerto Rico that serves tourists and billionaires and investors and not the people of California?
That's the plan.
And there's a clear pattern.
I believe that's the plan.
And we gotta take our state back. We gotta take our government back, and we gotta serve. And this government has to serve the people of California.
Amen. I hope you do well. I hope you are. You going to go to
Thank you,
the?
sir.
I know you're not running as a Republican, but come April is the big California Republican convention down in the San Diego area. You're going to make an appearance there. They're going to welcome you with open arms.
I seriously doubt it. The party system does not welcome anyone from outside. In fact, they go out of their way to throw everybody else out.
Yep.
So,
All right, my friend. Well, then look
sir,
them up on your own because the party's
I
not going
will
to
do.
help them. It's
No.
Reza4California.com, REZA, the number 4, California.com. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Charlie. It's great speaking with you, as always.
Hey, you too, my man. You too. And you can support my show at charliesimons.com. You can give there. You can buy some products like this. Let's talk about politics and religion on Do Not Talk. Nice big old 15-ounce mug. I got caps. I got mugs, hats, shirts, and you'll be helping the show grow, not just stay on the air, but just grow would be nice. There's other ways you can give there too if you want, especially if you're running for office, Reza. You want to make a little contribution? You can do that through my website, charliesimons.com, CharlieSimons.com. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America bless God.